Welcome back to the Batflipbombs podcast. It is your host, Brock Myers, and today I have my co-host, Connor Adams, but it's also a special day for us. We got our first guest. Our guest is from Tunnel Hill, Georgia. He was a member of the 2021 OVC All-Freshman team. He was a member of the 2022 Statesboro Regional All-Tournament team. He was a 2019 first-team All-Region quarterback in Georgia. He eats line drives off the face. He's never lost a fight, and he's the best athlete in his family. Welcome, Ty Fisher.
That is a great introduction right there.
Yeah. We do what we can. So just first off, how's the year going? Tell us everything.
Team-wise, we had a little rough patch last week. Dropped 6 straight. But this past weekend, play started off with a sweep, so we're getting back on it. Individually, can't really complain. Just trying to win ball games right now.
That's what we like to hear. Car, you can talk.
Oh, yeah. Well, Charlie just dropped her bone behind me. But, yeah. I mean, it's a good way to start the year. I see the stats-wise are pretty good. It seems like, you've been having a pretty good year. Good way to start Fridays, honestly, pretty consistent. I think it was like kind of the same thing back in 2020. Was it that year? You were pretty consistent as our Friday guy when you replaced the electric Jackson Berry. So, same thing as last year. It seems like you're kind of starting off the same way as you did last season. And honestly, I expect nothing less.
Yeah, about 2 weeks from line drive though. So we're on pace to hit 100 innings this year.
Yeah. The line drive is tough. So I kind of want to ask a question about the line drive. Like, how did that feel? Because some people might not know that you took a stinger off the finger, at Tennessee Tech against Lipscomb in a midweek game. So, which is great, gutsy. So I'm thinking to myself, after we're looking at kind of like the years here, you're kind of on pace for making a bare hand play this year. I think after the hand and then getting hit in the eye, I think, this is the year that you're going to get a bare hand.
Well, I did get a bare hand PFP in the last inter squad. So I'm counting that one.
Honestly, I think it's a step up from your freshman fall with PFPs.
I would say anything's probably a step up.
Yeah, I'm at it, but nothing compares to that fall in general.
Kind of seeing like the transition from you like now from freshman fall, just hilarious.
I'd say it's unbelievable.
It was my most moment last year for our hot seat. Our freshman Tech.
But speaking of last year, how does this year's team compare to last year's team, where y'all were obviously really good at hosting the regional? Like, how are you feeling about the team this year compared to where y'all were last year at this point?
I think last year we were led by a bunch of like 6-year guys. Our first baseman, shortstop, and our right fielder, and then our center fielder. They were all 6 years, been there, and they all started as freshmen too. So like that leadership kind of carried us to hosting regional and all that stuff. And then I think this year we were on the pitching staff last year. If you kind of look at how we didn't really have a lot of depth last year, but just because I think outside of me and one other guy, we were the only two who've thrown more than 50 innings in college baseball. And I think this year our pitching staff has grown a lot more just from guys getting rep.
Is he just not going to apply right now? No, so what I was saying, so like, I feel like that's how a lot of teams are right now, like where they've had, from COVID, obviously, where they've had like a bunch of older guys, and now those older guys are starting to leave, so the younger teams are trying to find their identity kind of through the start of the year. So it's tougher. So you're seeing a lot of really good teams that may not be playing as well at the beginning of the year that are probably going to find it more at the end of the year. Yeah,
definitely. You got to be able to find that leader. And if you had an old team last year, you had kind of leaders who proven themselves, and then like, hey, someone else has got to up, and that's kind of what we're going through. We're kind of getting through right now, and other teams as well, probably.
Yeah.
I was telling Brock right before you joined again that I still think it's interesting because you still have guys that did go through COVID before. Like I know, when was COVID? 2019,
2020.
2020, yeah, whatever. It's been so long, but you still have a bunch of guys that have gone through COVID that have that extra year, and it's weird because there's teams in certain situations like you guys that might have lost a bunch of like older guys, and now you guys are a little bit younger, a little less experienced in like the leadership aspect. But I still feel like there's the programs out there that are kind of seeing it from the other end of the spectrum that kind of poached kids from other schools. Like, for example, like our team, like last year, we had a ton of kids leave. Like Ed left and went to Alabama. I mean, you had Gabe leave and he went to Southern Miss, and you had Golston go to like Appalachian State, where I still feel like there's teams that did like take kids away that were older from certain programs. And like, I don't know if I'm not saying they have like a leg up or anything, but it's just interesting to see how like that transition that COVID kind of put everyone in, where everyone has older guys, they have leadership and stuff like that, how it's starting to kind of, go back to the beginning and the way it was, where, you kind of have to rely on some younger guys to step up. Or I wouldn't even say younger guys. I would say still like third year guys, like fourth year guys to actually be like big leaders instead. And during COVID, you had like sixth years and fifth years left and right. So it's interesting.
How are you feeling going into Sunbelt play right now? Obviously, I slept the first weekend, so you're probably feeling pretty good.
Yeah. We got Southern this week, so I think that's kind of the one we had circled the whole year. Just up in the conference, they're a powerhouse. That everybody knows who Southern Miss is. So I'm excited to we go to Southern Miss. So that's going to be pretty fun.
Okay, that's what I was about to ask. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
Probably go hang out with Gabe before a game. Just talk to him during BP. And then
always
it'd be a cool matchup. Their Friday guy, he's really good. So I'd go out there and just try to compete get after that one.
I mean, you know what you're gonna get from you. You're gonna get 89, 90. You can get some breakers, some change up.
Been a little down.
Hey, that's all right. You'll get back up. No worries.
It's middle of the year. It's it's the lulls. Everyone.
Nobody's hot. Nobody's hot right now.
The Sunbelt though, I think Sunbelt's interesting. I think Brock and I were talking about it before, how what you might said. You guys had Southern Miss circled there, but they just dropped the series to Texas State, which kind of surprising. But I think Brock and I have touched on it a little bit. It seems like it's kind of like out of conference wise, looking at people's records and who they've played, it's kind of like a toss up. So I think like the Sun Belt's going to be super competitive. I think that the fact that you guys started 3-0 against South Alabama gives you guys kind of like a an upper leg on other people. I think this weekend I think is actually going to be a big weekend for like the grand.
Definitely going to be in our picks.
Definitely. And like I think just starting 3-0 in the Sun Belt's great, just because it seems like it's been so tightly competitive. I would almost say, like if you match up everyone like at the beginning of the year and say, okay, well here's a Sun Belt, this is like what they got, and then obviously like you got like Southern Miss, you guys, you got Texas State and stuff. And even like Coastal's been pretty good this year. I mean, South Alabama's a little bit down, but you guys have like in Louisiana, Lafayette, they're pretty good. So I think like it'll be a good race, but you guys definitely help yourselves out going 3-0 the first week.
Yeah, Sunbelt, it's rough this year. You got Old Dominions in there too. They had wins last year. Troy's off to a really good start.
Yeah, Troy's hot right now.
About Troy.
Troy's doing really
I mean, you can't afford to drop a game in the Sunbelt. Then you got to
No, you can't drop a game to Arkansas State or like Marshall. That's just not gonna do well at the end of the day.
Do you like watch much college baseball, or you pretty much just play and just focus on you guys?
We watch a ton. Because my roommate like to do. We're huge Cal State Fullerton fans because they always start whenever we get done.
I was about to ask who your favorite team to watch is.
We always turn on every Cal State Fullerton game and just watch.
I love that.
Random team.
Connor, me and Connor love Cal State Fullerton too. You can't not.
No, it's good.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Big West is competitive too. Now I don't think like the Big West. I mean, obviously they have Santa Barbara, they have like Irvine, they have a bunch of good teams. So I don't know if like I don't know. It's kind of competitive. Like I would think that the Big West is honestly like the West Coast Sun Belt, in my opinion, just because like they have a bunch of good teams. Like I think it's like teams like Louisiana Lafayette, who historically are pretty good, but in the past couple of years they haven't been great. But this year they're doing pretty well. Like they have Troy and stuff. If you look at like the Big West, they got like Cal State Northridge, like Fullerton, a bunch of schools that you're like, look at these like random schools out west, but they're all like ultra competitive. They're super close. I mean, yeah. So I could see why you like watching Fullerton. It's always a historically good program.
Connor, I know you had a few questions for him. Let's get some of those.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, you're my roommate for your last year at Tech. So this kind of stems from the fact that we were roommates, and I thought we got along pretty well, and you're good friends with Nick as well, and then Herbie, and I kind of just was curious because I think a lot of people don't necessarily. I think there's two sides of like transferring in any situation. When someone transfers, you have the side that the kids that were at the program that someone transferred from, and then the person that transferred, and there's kind of like not two sides of a story, but there's two sides of like. I was like an outlook of it. So from like our perspective, from like my perspective, I was going to ask, well, not ask, but like I was going to say that for us, we always talk about like, oh, Ty Fisher, it's like, oh yeah, things that like Ty would do, or like, kind of joke around, and it's kind of like a distant memory. And, obviously you go into like Statesboro, Georgia, like you're not close to Cookeville, Tennessee at all, but you still have that relationship with the kids that went to the school that you were at previously. And I was kind of curious, what's it kind of like from someone in your perspective that leaves a school? Like, how does that, that transition period, that summer period when, you have to leave a bunch of guys you have like a relationship with and, go, obviously you're going to make friends with the kids on your team that you're going to, but is it kind of tough to, leave some guys that you're friends with despite, obviously that wasn't the reason why you left Tech, but, is it tough, like, leaving those guys that you build a relationship with?
Yeah, like, I was great friends with y'all, like Nick Dye, Hurst, Herbie. I mean, we all had, like, a little clique that we kind of hung out with. And, I mean, I wasn't planning on leaving. That wasn't never my goal. And, like, it just kind of happened that way. I kind of moved on, and I would still talk to, like, a bunch of guys. Like, I haven't talked to John Dyer, for a little Ed, and just like guys who were still around the program and still there. And like, so I think I may have talked to you a couple times, Connor. I mean, I don't know, but like, it was tough leaving. I didn't really want to leave, and then like finding new friends. I think that was kind of the easy part, just because of you grow up playing travel ball, summer ball. You make new friends in a week playing baseball. So I mean, it just kind of instantly clicked with some of the guys here, and I'm really good friends with those guys.
Yes, take us kind of through like the process of like once you enter the portal, like what is that process? What was that like for you, like finding a school? Because we know like a bunch of people, like I've seen a stat, like 60% of the people that enter the portal are like still in the portal. So what was that like for you in that situation?
Yeah, literally as soon as I put my name in the portal, I had hundreds of just like JUCOs, like D2, D3s, just blowing me up, and it's like I kind of go back. I wanted to stay at like a Division I level, and then I thought it would be cool to like go in state, be cheaper on my family, just kind of go that route, and got in touch with Coach Hennon. He's actually from Dalton, where I'm from, and he's really good friends with my high school coaches. So got in touch that way and came down on a visit and committed on the spot there. Just kind of happened. It happened really easy for me. It wasn't a stress.
That's good. Because I know a lot of guys, it can be so stressful. Like up till like the final day of school, or when school starts, you're trying to find a spot. So that's good.
Yeah. So like, was it pretty much like? I think we actually talked about this a little bit, but I probably forgot because it was so long ago. So like, what were some of the other like schools that reached out to you?
Jacksonville State. That was. I didn't want to go OVC to OVC. Just that kind of be weird. I mean, a bunch of OVC schools actually, like Murray State, SEMA. That's kind of the only ones outside of like Georgia Southern. But I think as soon as I entered the portal, I kind of made up where I wanted to end up. So I didn't really entertain many other teams.
Yeah, I mean, some might say it was, it would have been a ballsy move, if you know what I mean, to go to Jacksonville State, considering, an incident that took place between two people in this call at Jacksonville State Field.
So, yeah, that's my bad.
Oh,
I may call a fastball up and,
I
drop and block.
I actually told that story about a week ago to someone in the outfield. We were doing the same thing. And I was doing my same.
I forget about it until he brings it up.
Oh
God!
Strikes, and I was like, yeah, I remember what happened last time. I didn't call any strikes.
Wait, Fish, were you there when I hit Brock with the ball?
Yeah, he should have been.
When at Belmont.
When we were at Belmont, Connor skipped it off the plate and it hit me in the nuts.
I didn't go to Belmont. That was a midweek.
Well, Fish had hit me in the balls like 3 or 4 weeks before, so I wasn't too worried about it with the volleyball. Yeah, you hit me in the balls in the volleyball.
It was worse.
That's good. That's good.
That was the day I was supposed to start. Whenever you and Hershey.
Yeah, that was definitely on me not thinking, But you had a game between, right?
No.
No, you're the first one. Yeah, okay.
And then
I'll take full play.
Arm on a comeback or two that game.
You know how to wear some baseballs.
You're a magnet.
I think all of our PFP drills, COVID year, trained me for just wearing balls, eating them up.
But kind of more on kind of your whole process into the portal. I remember when you were at my house, like the day before or like right at that time, and you kept being like,
it was the day up.
Yeah, if they don't let me do this, like, yeah, I'm gonna enter the portal. I'm just sitting there, I'm like, no chance he enters the portal. Like, that makes no sense. But then you sure did. Next day was my birthday when you texted me. That's why I was so pissed. I was like, dang, this just ruined my birthday. I'm trying to relax by the pool with Fish out here trying to give me emotion. What are we doing right now? Well, I would say it was probably a good call by you at this point.
I mean, I'm grateful for where I'm at. I'm enjoying where I'm at, and I'm having the most fun I've ever had playing baseball right now. Just it's fun. College baseball is supposed to be fun, and I had plenty of fun with y'all too. It's just I've enjoyed both schools that I've been to.
Exactly, and that's all that matters. I'd say you're winning now, so that's also good.
Yeah. Fish dropped the bomb on me when he told me he was transferring. I texted him and I was like, "Dude, you see Herbie's leaving?" And I was like, "What's up with that?" And I think I said, like, "What are you going to do for a roommate?" Because he was, I think you're going to live with Christian. And then you're like, "What do you mean I'm leaving too?" And I must have just completely disregarded the group me text, and I was like, "What?" And then you were like, "I'm leaving," and I was like, "Okay." And then I look and I was like, "Oh crap!" Like, you sent that in before Christian, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" So yeah, that kind of shocked me a little bit. And then that's when you and I started talking about why. But it's kind of funny to see how things end up. And of course, being able to play in a regional, after that, Brock and I didn't play in a regional after you left, but you were able to. And didn't you take a no-hitter into the 9th?
It was.
Or something like that, or the 8th, or
it was the
9th?
7th. I had 2 outs in the 7th, 6 and 2/3.
Almost so close.
I got
it. Yeah. So how was that? I guess were you the butter? I know you as a person. I feel like were the butterflies kicking a little bit before you started that game? Whenever you were warming up, was there any sort of nerves? You're at Georgia Southern, you're in front of the home crowd, which I'm sure helps a little bit. And obviously, you guys are playing UNC Greensboro, so you guys were expected to win. But were the nerves kicking a little bit before that started?
I mean, all right. So here's how I'll explain it. We were supposed to play that night or Friday night after Notre Dame and Texas Tech played. So I'm sitting in the locker room and I'm watching the game. I'm like, this is our home field, and Notre Dame and Texas Tech, who both been to Omaha in the last 2 years, are sitting there on our field. And I was like, this is gonna be really fun to pitch. So then they get in a rain delay, our game. So I got to go back home, and then they tell us we're playing at 9 or 10 in the morning. So I don't get any.
Well, it's brutal.
I mean, I wake up at like 6 o'clock to just go like have to wake my body up to go get ready to pitch, and then we weren't allowed in the dugout after a certain time, or in the locker room after a certain time, just because of the regional rules. So I'm sitting in the bullpen for 2 hours when it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm yawning. So I didn't really get nervous until the start of the game because I was tired. I was very, very tired, just warming up, and then go out like getting ready to do my warm up pitches, and the TV crew wasn't set, so they made us stop, and I had to sit there and sit in the middle of the field for 30 seconds waiting to go. That was probably the most nervous part.
Yeah. Once the game gets rolling, I feel like nerves kind of like stop in general. That's how I always felt like playing whenever you actually make that first pitch. Like up until like the wind up starts, you're like, oh, this is kind of nerve wracking. But I guess I didn't know that whole backstory. I mean, I knew the game was really early in the morning, but I didn't know the whole backstory on like not being able to be in the dugout or anything like that.
There is such a dumb
It's just
rule.
a home field advantage thing. My normal routine is I go sit, like we have our facility's 2 stories. We have the locker room, and under that's the training room and like a little turf area where we watch film and kind of stretch out and stuff. And I normally sit in there for like an hour before game time just to cool off and like do my stretching. But they kicked us out of there, so I had to go sit out in the Statesboro June heat for 3 hours. From it.
Yeah, dude. Like when we had to play Ole Miss for beat them one time, had to play them again. After we beat them the first time, it was like, yeah, you guys just have to like leave and we just had to sit in a hotel for like an hour and a half to 2 hours before we could actually even just go back to the field, even though we weren't going to do like anything. It was such a weird like whole situation.
So did they have to do kind of like the same thing? Like, do they have to? Are they not allowed to go in their locker room for that time, or are they?
Yeah. They do the same thing.
You have to. The way we did, because we were supposed to play Notre Dame that night after the UNCG game, and as soon as like we're doing in and out or something like that to get going, they know the rain delay, get off the field, they put the tarp down. We have like 3 rain delays, so they put Notre Dame in our academic building where we do like our. They put back to the hotel. They're like, all right, like y'all just hang out here. So we were able to like then because they had their own separate area too that was labeled their locker room.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, the academic center. I mean, probably some might say that gave them an advantage. Being an academic school.
A bunch of computers. They could be watching film, and I'd probably be playing cool math games if I had a computer.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Cool math games. So did you ever think about bouncing back in that regional?
Yeah, it was. So we lost Notre Dame that night, and we had the elimination game against Texas Tech in the morning, and I was hot. So I told him,
yeah, that's what we like to hear.
I was like, hey, like I'm good to go tomorrow. So I warming up, I'm throwing. I'm not feeling good. My shoulder hanging. I was like, if I get the chance, like I'm going to pitch. So I did the warm up. I even threw a couple pitches off the mound during that game. But the plan was if we were in, then I was going to start again that night against Notre Dame for the winner go home.
Oh my! Back-to-back start.
Like, I mean, that's what they said, but like that's what I told them. So like, I expect that to happen.
So you expect that to happen? That makes sense.
I would have been good.
That's fair. I mean, we would all do that
one time through the order. So I wasn't expecting. Expecting to go down again. I was just trying to get us through.
Can you imagine how legendary that would have been if you were started 2 games in 2 days and gone like at least if you just went like 5? Oh,
I probably still.
Dude, Kendall Rogers. Oh my gosh, he just would have been all over it. Would have loved it.
No, I would love to go to another regional and just be able to throw back-to-back days like that. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So next I got some rapid fire questions for you. So just first instinct answer real quick. All right. True or false? Being cold is just a mindset.
True.
What is the most amount of bananas you've eaten in 10 minutes?
3 or 4, maybe.
In your family, who's the favorite
My
child?
brother.
Is your mom a better athlete than either of y'all?
Absolutely not.
And last one, what's your current mile
Ooh.
time?
Probably somewhere in the 7s.
That's not too bad.
Not 10 minutes. Was.
I mean, we've seen you do better, but we're not. That's not too
I'm
bad.
not in training mode right now. I'm just kind of cruising.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, hey, he was part of the electric team on what mornings were those? Or are those Friday mornings?
The Barty mornings, the breakfast parties.
Mm-hmm. Dude, hey, every Friday we just would run all of you guys. Like it wasn't even fair.
Yeah,
like,
I'm aware. I had to do the punishment running every week.
No one expected Fish to come back running the 6-minute mile. That's all I'm saying. I knew I was the last pick in that draft, and no one expected me to show up like.
Oh
yeah,
my gosh!
I mean, we had some good runners. I mean, Hinchman was good at running. We had Ed. Ed was pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
Like
we were stacked.
I mean, it wasn't even fair. Gilly was our worst runner. I mean, obviously he's no speed demon, but he would still do well compared to everyone else. So I mean, it was like too easy, honestly. It was electric.
Yeah, but that team, it's really weird now because with the portal and everything, getting to see kind of like I want to watch everybody and see what everybody's kind of doing, but it's unbelievably tough to try and watch every single game of everybody on that team. Like, because I'll have, like, you on when you're throwing on Fridays, and then, like, try to watch Gabe at Southern Miss, Ed at Alabama. It's just trying to get all of them in is tough, And, like, do you keep up with all the guys you kind of played with, like, even from last year, if y'all have had guys transfer out and watching their games, or what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, I Kirby pretty much every day. Just, y'all know how close friends we were. So I talked to him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really get to watch his starts or when he pitches because we're playing at the same time. But like I'll watch Southern Miss midweeks if they're on and we're not playing. I mean, mainly I just kind of hard to play just because I want to watch my brother play. But I think I have other guys play. But I mean, I keep up with Tennessee Tech. Like when y'all were playing last year, I'd watch y'all's games if y'all were on. But I mean, I enjoy watching baseball. So if I know someone playing, then I'm going to turn it on.
It's fair. It's fair.
Did you happen to catch the UT Martin series last year? It was electric.
Please tell me you didn't.
I did watch the semifinal conference championship. I did watch that.
Well,
wait, which one? The SEMO one or the one against Belmont where I was like yelling at the umpire?
I don't remember who you were playing, but I remember it was Sly's shoulder popped out.
Which team was that?
It may have been the quarterfinal. I remember watching one of y'all's tournaments.
I think that was the first SEMO game, or it was either SEMO or Belmont. Yeah.
I think it was. I think it was the first SEMO game. I don't think it was the Belmont game because I don't think he pitched.
I don't remember watching Belmont.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, the UT Martin game, I allowed 12 runs, 12 earned in 1 inning. So glad you didn't watch that.
It's off for them to keep you out there that long.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like I allowed like 4, and I'm looking down. I'm like, there's nobody in the bullpen right now. This is not good. This is not where we want to be. 1-0 righty changeup, and the dude's just sitting on it. Like, what am I supposed to do? And I also have one last question. Are you still driving the Eddie Bauer? And this is the biggest question of the entire podcast.
Yes. And it has gotten towed twice in the last 2 months. The check engine light.
How come?
So I mean, it's just,
is it falling apart?
We replaced.
What do you think?
It was last sitting in our parking lot for like 3 weeks.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
So I guess I will ask, how are you liking the weather down in Georgia Southern compared to Cookeville? Now I know people sometimes think Tennessee's warm, but I don't think they've been to Tennessee in February.
No.
Like, I don't know.
feels really nice to be 70 degrees in the middle of February and January. But no, last week was spring break, and the high was like 55. So I don't know what happened, but it's normally like 75, 80.
That's so nice. That's what you dream of. That's nice.
It's fun to throw in January and it not be snowing.
I think Brock actually last year, he every single one of his times he pitched before the season, it was snowing.
Every preseason inter squad, it was snowing.
Last
year, that's usually more.
21 or my last year there, 2 inches of snow on the ground, and we're fighting for a rotation spot. It's 2 inches. Gotta get.
Hey, that's just what a blue collar program does. All right.
It's mindset.
Exactly. That's what I would tell myself every time. Like, fish out its mindset. Fish out its mindset.
Well, I mean, it'll be like 50 degrees or something for practice, and there's guys in like hoodies and stuff like that. I'm like, go soft. Like,
do y'all have to pull the tarp, or do y'all have the ground screw? Okay.
Yes.
Good. Pull the tarp builds character.
See, with Brock and I were talking about how, Louisiana Tech was playing Ole Miss in a midweek, and it started raining, and Louisiana Tech actually took the lead against Ole Miss, and they ended up like canceling the game. And then, obviously you have to finish an inning before it counts. So they went back and they gave Ole Miss the win because it was like in the 7th when they took the lead. And I'm thinking to myself, Louisiana Tech, obviously they have a turf field and stuff. They don't really know how to pull the tarp. But if I were them, I would have been running out on Ole Miss's field, pulling the tarp for Ole Miss to play that game. Like, I don't know about you guys, but that's the mentality that you guys need. And I'm glad you guys pulled the tarp, because if you guys don't, then
I love on the tarp. Pulling the tarp is.
Did you go barefoot on the tarp?
Go barefoot.
Oh gosh.
We're gonna get I'm gonna get a notification on my phone. It's gonna say Ty Fisher out trench foot, and I'm gonna be like, yep, sounds about right.
I would argue that Ty would throw through trench foot. Like, I think he would throw.
Yeah,
we had to do shag barefoot at Tennessee Tech. I mean, there's.
I forgot about that day. Oh God, yeah.
So I guess I'm gonna ask a couple questions here. The first one, quick one. Who is, I wouldn't say the person that you fear the most, but who's a person that you've pitched to that you're like, crap, they kind of have my number? And you don't have to say someone that you currently play, because that might later on in the season, but who's someone that in your college career that you've played that you're like, dang, this kid's a good hitter?
Probably our second baseman, Jesse Sherrill. I mean, he refuses to strike out against me. He's a lefty, and I've always had really good success lefty on lefty, and I can never just get him. It's always like I get lucky with like a line drive at somebody or just something. But he is a very tough out.
Yeah. So then I guess I'll ask you what's kind of like in your mind, like a memory that you have from, it could be from Tech or Georgia Southern, that is just kind of like one of your favorite memories, kind of not like a playing memory, but like an off the field memory, just to kind of tell people that kind of want to see like a behind the scenes lifestyle of like a baseball player. Like, what's kind of your favorite memory that you've had off the field?
Definitely, it was Thursday night practice. We were playing Arkansas Little Rock at Little Rock, and their field is set up so there's 2 neighborhoods like here, and the field's right in the middle. And there's a little creek, like a drainage ditch that runs behind the outfield. So we're doing home run duty, and it's like a 20-foot fence, and it's just covered. So like you're on your lonesome out there. And we found out that the 2 neighborhoods that the field's in between, they're rival gangs.
I've heard about that. I've heard people talk about that when I first got to Tech.
Oh my gosh! And it's we're sitting there home run duty, and it's getting dark. I was like, yeah, like I'm done with this. Like, I go back in, I'm just gonna go shag. And then there's 3 guys out there, and we one of them had a bat with them, and then there's cars driving down the road, and they're yelling at them. And there's one car, they said like it went onto the grass where they were standing, like acting like it was going to run them over. And then right when BP's ending, it's like pitch black, and there's a dude that's walking behind the outfield fence, and he's like kind of covered himself up, and he gets like 10, 15 feet from my guys, and he's holding a bloody knife, and there's like blood all over him, and they just scram back through the woods into the field, and like they come running out there right as BP's over, and they're like, oh my god, like telling everybody, and like our coaches don't believe him. And they're like, all right, we'll go check it out. So they go out there with their fungos walking around, and then they open the gate, and he's like walking back towards them. So they open the gate, they see him, they throw it, and they start running back.
Oh
Jeez.
my god! What?
Yeah, and then I'm talking to one of their pitchers who was on bucket the next day before the game, and we told him that story. He's like, yeah, like there's bullet holes in our facility. And then I go and work out the next day in their facility, and bullet holes right on the wall.
Oh my god! Can you imagine?
Hey, they're in the OVC. That's part of the Ohio.
I know. I think Tech's got to go there this year. Oh man, yeah. Glad we're not there anymore.
Oh,
that's a crazy story. I don't think anything that we've done compares to that.
You have your like
no.
fun stories would be like playing WWE at Brock's house or like Rock Band. That's top tier fun stuff right there. Just team bonding.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite memories of you is just tripping on first base. Like one of the specific times your freshman year. I think you just did something like you're like messing up on a PFP, and like I think it was at Holmes and Wright were just on your butt.
Because I have nightmares about it. PFPs, and then the last rep did a good one or whatever, and I was like next, so I was running on. I didn't hear him say last one, and then I'm running off, and Holmes sees me, and he's like, "No, you're up." Oh no! It's double play. You got to cover first, and I'm thinking, don't mess it up, and then I'm running, and I just trip right over the back and just fall down right as the throw's coming.
That was an all-timer.
Yeah, I remember that, and everyone was just dying in laughter. But I mean, honestly though, like the next year, you didn't make like any mistakes during PFPs or anything. So I mean, the transition was incredible.
Last year we were playing at Louisiana, and they were like very big on small ball, and their first 6 batters of the game bunt.
Oh,
first 6?
Yeah, it went lead off bunt. I don't even field it. Like I get in front of it. They go stack bunt, and then they bunt for a hit, and then I go to try to pick a guy off, throw it up the line. I think they scored 2 or 3 runs in the first, but they didn't score. I ended up going.
Oh, okay, you're good.
I don't know why they just didn't keep bunting the whole game, because they would have run ruled us if I was still out.
I don't say that yet. You still gonna play him, right?
No, we don't play him this year, but maybe.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
In the tournament, someone on their team sees this, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna just bunt the entire game." And then they bunt the entire game.
Was working PFPs.
That's a good thing.
So we've done some would you rather's with you before, just like around the locker room. But we had one we were talking about a few weeks ago, and it's kind of, I'm gonna put it in the simpler term. Would you rather win a national championship or be a first-round draft pick?
Win a national championship. 100%.
Yeah, I kind of figured from our previous ones. That was kind of what you would
a lot for a national championship.
Yeah. No, well, no, I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask him that other question because he's pretty much at a mid-major that is very good. Like not even a mid-major. Honestly, the Sun Belt's not even a mid-major. We don't even count that as a mid-major. But one of our questions that I think, actually, we were talking to a kid that played at Tech last year. He said he would go to a Power 5 school that sucked. But, you get all the gear. You get to have, like, the nice facilities, everything like that. And I think the question was, like, would you rather play at a big school that gets all this gear and like, nice facilities, but you suck? Like, you're just not good. Like a Northwestern. And or would you rather go to, like, a good mid-major school that, you might not get the nice gear. You might not get, like, the super nice field, but you'll compete and, like, you'll win, like, a conference tournament at least one of the years that you're there. And he was like, I think I'm gonna pick the big school 10 times out of 10. Like, geez,
No,
like,
heck
not a
no.
winner.
I'd rather win.
Never seen it. Yes. we knew that was the answer.
Yeah, I mean, obviously coming from me, that's a little, like, biased considering the fact that I went to a big school that got a lot of gear in and they did win. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there any other questions?
That's all the questions I've got. All right, and that was our interview with Ty Fisher. Ty, thank you very much. You've been a great guest. First guest we ever had. Couldn't ask for anybody better. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.